Welcome back to Seat Time. We are in Indiana, somewhere near Matthews or Upland or something. But that is the covered bridge. And this is the start of the Muddobbers National Enduro. It is the penultimate round. I took my time getting out here, stopped in Joplin, Missouri. Got an amazing coffee at a coffee shop there. It's like a Joplin greenhouse. Super cool spot if you're coming through Joplin. It's been awesome to meet everybody at this round. It's supposed to be super fun. Looks like it's gonna be dusty, but it's not gonna be nearly as dusty as Lead Belt. So we're gonna find that out, right, and see how it goes on there. That's gonna be interesting for sure. For those of you that have picked up some utility can caddies, of course, I really appreciate it. Thank you for the donations. I have closed the shop, but if you wanna get a utility can caddy or grab a couple to sell in your shop, please let me know. I can't believe it, it's the second to last round. I'm on road 22 again. We're gonna get our butt kicked. We're gonna have fun. Oh my God. Enjoy getting seat time, guys. Let's get into this.
I wanted to ruin that shot you were just doing.
Well, now you're ruining this shot.
Oh well.
Nailed it. Have fun. Let me introduce you to the wicked riders on road 22. We've got Jack Walker in the NE2 class, James Jenkin in the AA class, Brody Amos in the A250 class, Riley Bender in the AA class, Rachel Gudish in the Women's Pro class, me in the 45A class, and then John Regan in the B250. Yes, lots of fast guys in an internationally fast lady, which means more dust and more dust clouds. But in the long run, that means there's fast riders to chase. The course was dry all day long. There was talk and hope of moisture, but the only moisture to be found was what was drug up out of the creek and river crossings. I will say there were a few post-river crossings where the clay was extra slick, so this event in the wet could be quite challenging. Think Ohio. I didn't feel comfortable on the gas from the get-go. Even though I could see better here than at Lead Belt, something felt off. My front end felt twitchy and bouncy. If you've been watching what I put out on Instagram, I bet you can guess what it was. I'll get into that in test 4, after the gas stop. Regardless of me feeling funky, the trails were sick. They were very technical due to the chop and quick turns. As well, the fast sections, when we were next to a cornfield or riding across them, were crazy fast. Literally, you could go as fast as you or your bike could go. Passing was an issue again. Not as bad as Lead Belt. Par for the course for me. I had a run-in with another rider that shouldn't have happened.
On your right! God damn it! Really? What the f?
Yep, she dropped her bike, it laid into me, and because I tried to jump back into the trail instead of bushwhacking around the tree, it trapped me between her bike and the tree. The only real complaint here is that she didn't help pick her bike up. I had to lift both bikes before I could get going again. She may not have been there for the race, but I was. Even though I'm not a botanist, I decided I needed to take one last dirt sample to verify the leaves were of the right species to be found in this county. Yep, I immediately thought back to the commenter who asked why I am not running barkbusters over the open guards. I'll say it again, these brake techs suck compared to Brimbos. They just can't get tight enough for this setup. If you've got Brimbos you want to donate, I'm all in. Even though I had a few mishaps, I was still 4th in the 450A class. I was about 20 seconds behind Ryan Moss and within the minute of Hans and Jesse, which is super cool. those 3 dudes were hauling all day long.
Woo, guys, that was shit. Like, that was crap riding. Holy smokes.
At the start of test 2, I wanted to try to keep up with Rachel Gudish or Riley Bender a little bit more. You can see the sun shining through and all the dust and everything's making that pretty difficult, but this is a crazy moment that just happened. That is Rachel Gudish riding over Riley Bender's bike because he crashed. She said she could not see him. She literally launched off of his bike. I didn't even see that until I was watching the footage afterwards. In the long run, Riley was okay, and he comes by and passes me a little bit later.
Woo! Woo! Thank you!
I wanted to leave this section in because it shows how close we were to these people's property, literally zipping down part of their driveway onto this very large, fast, open field. I was feeling pretty good up until this point, but on this downhill, I could hear a rider on the rev limiter behind me. Turns out it was Hunter Smith. He was flying by me all day. But as we got into this ravine, I said, you know what? I'm gonna try to stay with Hunter. I know he's gonna drop me pretty quick, but in the long run, stand up, see what happens, and see what I could do. I did a pretty decent job. You could see he's already starting to get away from me. But in the long run, I'm like, hey, not doing too bad. Definitely slowed down a lot there. And I said, let's get out of this thing. And then that happens.
Well, me.
I found myself in this precarious situation where I didn't know what to do. I knew if I went straight, I could get more stuck. And there was no way to just easily turn the bike around. Sure, I could have done a hard enduro awesome wheelie thing, but knowing how I ride, that's just probably gonna cause more damage. So I was trying to move slow, and I'm trying to make the right decision, and unfortunately, I just kept making the wrong decision. So you can see here, I get stuck on this log, and as the riders keep coming at me, I'm like, how do I get out of this thing? I need to now pull another 180 to get out of here, and as I go do that, I see more riders coming at me, and I'm like, I have to get out of the way, knowing how hard it is to get out of here with the one little route. So I said, hey, look, I'm gonna ride up that ledge and drop down the other side. Well, I come up the other side, and what's there? A 3-foot wall. And so I just go, holy crap, I have to back down and turn around. Looking at the time from when I first hit that rock and pinged off of it to the time right now when I hit it going up, I lost 2 minutes and 20 seconds. There are many different things I could have done to react differently. I could have tried to be quicker about things and think faster, or I could have gone a little bit slower and made a better decision. In the long run, none of it really worked out, and I pretty much just wrote it in. It was mentally defeating, and I said, you know what, maybe this will help me have energy for later. In the long run, it sucks that it happened, but this is literally racing. That was me laughing because I could not see anything in those first couple sections as I was still trying to keep up with Rachel and Riley. This test section was the longest one so far at 8 miles, and it was really fun. Even though I, air quotes, didn't ride that well, which we will see in a couple different moments here, it was really cool because of these different types of ravines that we shoot in and out of. And also, it did feel like we were doing some interesting side hilling in different spots. Of course, it wouldn't be a test section for me today if I didn't do another dirt sample.
God damn.
And TJ definitely lied to me. There are rocks in Indiana. I feel you, buddy. Dirt bikes are awesome. This run down this creek wasn't too bad, but anytime there are spectators on the side of a trail and water, I'm always very hesitant. In the long run, I was a little too hesitant, but still, so much water to ride through in Indiana. As well, these open fields with dust going into a super dark downhill scared the crap out of me every time. I believe this was the longest run down the river or creek, whatever you want to call this thing. But again, I could see the riders up ahead having some trouble, so I was very hesitant, and then bam, I hit a little bit of a deeper spot and I felt the front end kind of dive a little bit, freaked me out. In the long run, it's so interesting to watch back, and it feels like I'm being so hesitant watching this footage, but in the long run, in the moment, it definitely felt like I was being more aggressive, but it really wasn't. And as we close into the finish, I've got my second dirt sample of test 3. Honestly, not too sure what happened there, but in the long run, I got kicked a little bit weird, and then, woo, Nick Farringer comes by. Hey, Nick! And that was it, man. Test 3 went okay. It really wasn't that great. And then also, as I watch Nick Farringer ride away, he jumps this log. Looks beautiful, and I'm like, nope, I'm gonna tiptoe. Let's get into test 4. We did not get a lot of breaks between test sections, and I had to move really quick during the gas stop. But I decided to reset all of my suspension clicker settings and actually remove about half a turn of preload, so adding a little bit more sag. I just felt like the bike was very front end heavy, and I've been trying to fix that. Man, it felt like a completely different bike on the trails, and you can kind of see how aggressive here.
One more!
I'm giving Will Sievenpiper a chance to get around me, and man, we are about to hit this field. And I just say, you know what, I'm gonna latch on. And I could tell that he was floating out to the left because of the dust of the riders on the right, so I just stayed a little bit more to the left, and I just gave her the beans with him. least I got some redemption on that log crossing from before. But now I'm catching up to Emma Hasbell from row 21 and trying to take her over, but she is not making it easy. This is another one of those really fast field moments that just dropped a bunch of dust into darkness and you had no clue what we're coming in on. It was really intense. I'm glad I stopped messing with the front of the bike and reset the sag on the rear shock. The bike felt a lot better. I was able to be more aggressive, and I could feel as the test went on that I was feeling a little bit more confident. And even better news, I didn't crash in this section. I do hit the deck in the 5th test, but we'll take this one for right now. All right, let's get out of here.
Holy shit! Well, at least I stayed upright.
Test 5 was the shortest on the day at 4.5 miles. Also, thanks to Emma Hasbell's dad having some tools at the rider support, I was able to take out a tad bit more preload on the rear shock. Helped immensely in this test. The rider you can see just ahead of me is Rachel Gudish. She's trying to keep up with Riley Bender, and I'm trying to keep up with her. We are moving. We dump into this awesome little creek section, and I make a goofy little mistake right here. Unfortunately, the way the bike fell on my leg, which was stuck between the bike and the log, I had to pry my leg out to be able to push myself up, losing about 10 seconds. Watching this footage, I can see this log clear as day, but honestly, it kind of came up out of nowhere for me in the dust, and I just said, nope, I'm not even gonna try, knowing how some of the other logs went that day, so I went around. I was pushing hard towards the end to try not to let Hunter Smith catch me, but obviously he did, and he got by me maybe quarter of a mile, half mile from the finish. It's crazy to look at the times on this test because I was 0.8 of a second faster than Ryan Moss in the 45A class. Like, that's how close we were. And then Hans Neff and Jesse Santucci were right there in front of us. We were all in the same minute. I think at most maybe 30, 40 seconds apart from first to fourth. So super close racing for us old dudes. Tons of fun. Man, dirt bikes are awesome.
Thanks, guys. Woo! Mama!
Test 6 was the last test section of the day, and it was 8 miles long. It was also the A-only section, so there was only A racers or B racers that wanted to get in there and enjoy the good times. It was also really dusty and twisty right off of the start. I think it was just a little bit more powdery, but you could get into a couple sections where the dust would settle. It just took a little while. When we weren't ebbing and flowing up and down the Indiana terrain, we were in and out of different gullies like this, and you did have an interesting rock base there, so it was kind of loose, a little bit more like Missouri. I got passed by Stephen Pepper as we were dropping into this one about 2.5 miles in. And what was interesting is you can see off in the distance different cars. And again, that means spectators are coming up. And when spectators are coming up, I'm always hesitant. Why are the spectators here? And why are they waiting for me to bust my ass? In the long run, it was just a cool section that looked neat where the racers rode towards this awesome little culvert here, which looks like a bridge, so they could hang out. Of course, we got Mac Faint there taking pictures, but he missed me somehow. And I am obviously completely dropped by Stephen Pepper, but that's okay. I get to, you know, show my rock skills to the guys here. These sections were wicked cool. This is a good look at some of the undulating terrain that I was talking about. Is quick kind of left and right hand turns that drop you through these different little gullies, or you'd have to ride across, and you'd really have to pay attention because it could quickly take your front end out or your rear end could slip around. But they were super fun sections. Oh yeah, I caught back up to Emma Hasbell right before we hit this open field, and I took Stephen Piper's lessons from before, stayed on the left-hand side, and did not let off until I knew I was going to be able to carry speed to pass her. Hans took the win in the 45A class in this test, then Jesse Santucci, and then Ryan Moss beat me by 3 seconds in this section. Oh man, that one stings. Honestly, the earlier one where we were super close was even better. Man, what a great day competed against these guys. I wish I'd have had more for them earlier on, but I didn't.
Yeah, buddy.
I just got home from the Muddobbers Enduro, and I have to say that was an extremely fun race. Even though it was really dry and really dusty, it definitely was nowhere near as bad as the Lead Belt was. It's still probably one of the worst, dustiest races I've ever ridden. Lead Belt was. So Muddobbers was dusty, though it did settle pretty quickly, but it was really dry, which was really interesting because Lead Belt was really powdery with the rocks, where this actually did have really hard packed sections, which you'd think being a Texas guy that I'd be really good at that, but in the long run, not really. The bike took a while to get used to from those first 3 test sections. I finally made some adjustments there at the gas stop, and it reacted a lot better. And I feel that the way that I rode in those last 3 tests were my expectation of how I had been practicing and how I had felt on the bike as leading up to that race. Results are what they are, right? There were still a couple mistakes here and there. I still feel like I didn't attack as much as I really should have in that last test section. All things to work on, right? Thank you very much to everybody that said hi and that says that they appreciate the content. It definitely means a lot. Thank you, Rich Noble from OmniWall, for some of the OmniWall products that I am going to be putting up here in the garage very shortly. Extremely excited about that. Thank you to those that grabbed some utility can caddies. I do still have some left. I will have them with me at what is next, at Gobbler Getter, of course. And guys, just enjoy getting seat time. This traveling the country this year to race enduros has been so much less about the enduros and so much more about the journey of itself and seeing different parts of the country, grabbing coffee at the coffee shop, getting to see all of you guys at the races. So I just really appreciate everybody that says they enjoy these videos and that want to come say hi and want to hang out, because I'm glad that we're creating a cool community of seat timers. Maybe that's a thing, maybe it's not, I don't know. But guys, enjoy getting seat time. If I don't get a chance to see you on the trail, I will at least see you here on the internet. See you for the next one. Peace.